Hi, thanks very much for joining me again. This video I'm going to talk to you briefly about gonks. Now, you've probably seen lots and lots of gonks out there. Most of them look pretty much all the same. And don't get me wrong, absolutely nothing wrong with them. They are really quite cute things. However, I'm one of these people that, for me, things need to have a purpose. It's all very well things looking nice, but if they don't do anything, they're not a lot of use to me. That's just the way I am. We're not all the same, I appreciate. So what we're looking at today is a gonk with a difference. And what I'm going to do is introduce you to one of my friends. He's just here. And his name is Magnus Brewerson. There he is. He's a little gonk. He's a little Viking gonk. And why is he called Magnus Brewerson? Because he is defender of beer. And inside we've got a bottle opener. And I'm going to show you how Magnus and I became the best of friends. So watch on and we'll see how he was done. I'm starting off with the body, and this bit of oak is about 55 mils across this way and it's 100 millimeters long. First thing I'm going to do is just rough turn it and put a dovetail on this end so I can mount it in the chuck, and then we'll look at doing two things with this. The main thing is the body, and the other thing is going to be the little shield that we're going to make for him as well. Now I've mounted my body in the chuck, I'm ready to do the drilling at this end, and what I need to make sure is that I drill far enough into the body that I can fit the bottle opener part inside it, and this is off the top of my head, I think it's 60 millimeters. It is fractionally under 60 millimeters, and these actually, the bottle stoppers are also made, the diameter is slightly under 20 millimeters. The idea being 20 millimeter drill a hole, and these will fit snugly inside. If these, like some other people make them at 20 mils, then you've got to try and get a 21 millimeter drill or 20.5 millimeter drill. So we've made it easy for fitting inside things like this. So as I said, that's mounted in the chuck. I've got Jacob's chuck in this end, and I'm going to drill my 20 millimeters hole at least 60 millimeters deep, and I can use the bottle opener bits just to check that. You'll notice that I'm holding the Jacob's chuck. What I don't want to do is to have the drill stuck inside the wood, and when I retract the drill, to have the Jacob's chuck coming out of the quill, because that will be very dangerous. So I've got my correct size hole in there. It is full of chippings, however, so you might struggle to get that in there. You can see how snug a fit that is. When it's cleaned out, it'll be fine. So I've used the my air compressor to blow that out, and there you can see, you might be able to hear a little pop when I pull it out. That's how well it fits. If you want to do a tiny bit of sanding in there, you can do. If you want a slightly looser fit, it does depend on how your wood reacts. When you drill anything into wood, you tend to find it loosens the fibres in the wood, releases the tension, and what you actually get when you put a 20 millimeter drill inside is the fact that the wood fibres start moving and they make it slightly smaller. So you can, if you want to, just sand that out a little bit, make it a little bit smoother, because that is, it does fit. It's an exceptionally good fit. If you can hear that pop, that, as I said before, shows you how good a fit it is. So we're now going to use the bottle stopper to mark where, that's where the end of, I'm not sure if you can quite see that. There we go. If I do it that way, that's where the end of the bottle stopper comes to. We need to leave ourselves a little bit more for the base, so I'm going to add on around about 10 millimeters. So that's where we're actually going to part off this piece there. I'm just going to mark where we're parting it off with a parting tool, just so I don't lose where we're going to. it does help if you secure your banjo. And we can now look at shaping and finishing this part of his body. Let's just double check that we've still got, oh yes, that's just nice. Little puff of sawdust coming out there. When I part off, I'm just parting off slightly towards the body itself, just to try and create the slightest dip in the body, so when he stands on his edges, not on his middle. We may well add some feet later, I don't know, I haven't quite decided yet. So there we go, I've got the slightest, I don't know whether you can pick that up, just a very, very slight indentation, and we'll just take that nib out with a chisel, and we can put some finish on the bottom there if we need to, but that's his body nearly done. Now with the leftover piece we've got in here, and I have got about, I'll tell you how much if I can find where the hell I've put my ruler. Right, here we go, how much have I got left on there? Just over 20 mil. We've got about 22 millimeters left, and what I'm going to do is just trim this down slightly narrower, and I'm going to make a little shield with this bit. So there's his nice shiny shield. It hasn't been into battle yet. I'm going to use the parting tool just to leave a little nib on the back of it, because we're going to need to insert that into the body to glue it in later. So I'm going to take it down to around about 5 mils, somewhere around there, and then part it off. Now for the next part, I'm going to make his helmet. I'm going to use yew for his helmet, because I just happen to have this bit of scrap yew that has got a bit split off. Yew is slightly different to quite a few other woods in that it is exceptionally tight grained. Now when you get the bottle opener kit, you will see it comes with a thread like so, and you can get an Allen key in the end of there, and it also comes with a wood insert screw. Now on most woods I would use the wood insert screw. I'd drill around about an 11.5 millimeter hole and insert that. However, because yew is so tight grained, when you try and use these in yew, sometimes it just splits the wood, because yew just doesn't give like other woods. This is the point where you need to understand the material that you're using and how it's going to react to different things. It's not a problem with these parts, it's a problem with how your wood reacts to these parts, and the only person that knows about the wood you're using is you. So what I'm going to do in this instance, because this the wood insert screw could well split the yew here, I'm actually going to tap an 8 millimeter hole. I normally wouldn't do it in wood, for the simple reason that looser grained woods aren't really suitable for tapping directly into and putting a thread into. They're much better with a wood insert screw. But as I said, yew is a bit different, and any other woods that have a really, really hard, tight grain are going to be kind of similar to this one. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drill a 7 millimeter hole in there, and I'm then going to tap it by hand. I'm starting off with a centre finder so I don't put a drill up to there and find that it starts moving around, which is what sometimes you get with wood. So not too fast, about 700 RPM. That's too fast. That'll do. 670, right. You will see if I can actually thread that piece in there. It's quite tight. Might need the Allen key to get that in and out, but we're not actually going to put it on there at the moment anyway. What I'm going to do next is actually turn that roughly round and just trim off the end flat. So I've got my Procraft mandrel in there. I've just used the live centre just to align the end there. There's a little dip, as you'll see, in the end to help do that. I'm going to pop on my washer there because we want it plenty wide enough, and we'll now look, once we've screwed that onto the mandrel, about turning his helmet. So there's his helmet, there's his body. Hopefully we can see how he's starting to come together a little bit now. Now we need to make an arm and a nose. So with another little bit of oak, I'm going to try and make a nose and a little arm. I'm not sure if there's got enough wood in here. I'll do the nose first and see how we get on. What I'm doing with the little spigots that I'm leaving at the end is actually just roughly leaving them what I think is about the right size. I'll then choose a suitable size drill afterwards, otherwise I've got to fart around trying to find out whether that is exactly the right size or not, which I don't really want to do. So one nose. Mind you, it doesn't roll away. In fact, I think I'm going to pop mine, just for safekeeping, in his body. And then I'm going to see if I can do a little arm with this bit. So this piece of oak is about 140 millimeters long. I've just marked 2 centimeters there, 2 centimeters there. Let's just mark that round so I can see it when it's spinning. I'm going to put 2 little points on. No idea how these are going to work. I'm going to start to put a little point in these for a couple of horns for his helmet and his big spear. Let's have a bash. Sadly, this is what's happened to his little horns. His staff looks okay, so we might just miss out the little horns and just live with the spear. I'll just go and maybe even a pencil sharpener would do that. We'll see. I'll have a little play. So having got the bits that I need so far, I'm going to now drill the holes. I'm going to mark with an awl on each bit where I want the holes to be. I'm going to mark for the nose first, just a little bit down from the top, and I'm going to put some fur all the way around his nose and up to the top. I'm going to drill a hole in the side, probably about 3/4 of the way up, to take his little shield. I'm going to drill a hole in his arm, or essentially is his hand at the end here, the right size for his little spear here, and I'm going to do that on the pillar drill. I'm not going to film that because it's a bit dull watching somebody drill, but I'm going to measure the little spigots that I've got on the various parts, mark with an awl in the end, and then just drill a little hole. You can do it by hand if you've got a tool to do it by hand as well. So here you can see the little marks I've put. That's for his nose, that's for his arm, and that's for his shield. So hopefully you can now see that we've got the bits coming together. They're not glued yet. I've got his nose in place there. I've got his shield here. I have to say the most difficult thing to do was drilling the hole in his arm here. That arm's got to be glued in. It's not staying on its own at the moment. His spear is just a little tip. I ended up using a pencil sharpener just to do the end. You don't want it really sharp, but you can see there roughly the effect that hopefully we're going to get. So the next thing I'm going to do is to take the bottle opener part. I'm going to screw the thread up into the thread we made earlier, and using an Allen key I'm just going to screw that in there. That's why we have that there. That screws in there. That bit screws in there. I decided in the end for two reasons. One is they're extremely difficult to make, and the other is if you're using this as a bottle opener, the horns here might well get in the way. But you can see now roughly how we're coming along. What I'm going to do now is take this inside to cut the fur, because I don't think fur and wood shavings and sawdust mix particularly well together, and we'll glue the bits together. Well, Magnus and I are off to do some photographs now, which will be at the end of the video. There will also be some links to the bits and pieces that we've used. We don't sell furry beards. You don't have to use a furry beard, I have to say. He looks quite good even without his beard. But I got this from the range. I think it was 2.7 metres for $3.99, so not very expensive. We're off to do some photographs. The links will be on the website. Thanks ever so much for watching. Happy turning, safe turning. Until next time. Take care. See you soon. Bye bye for now.